Authorities are investigating the facts where the island artist Fabian Perez was wounded, who is confined to the intensive care unit with a reserved prognosis.
The islander's artist Fabian Perez, better known as Midday, after being wounded with a firearm, will be transferred to the interior of the country in the next hours to receive specialized attention due to the injuries caused by the impact. Internee medical coordinator said that Midday underwent surgery and is currently in the intensive care unit waiting to be transferred.
At this moment, the patient is in the intensive care unit in critical condition, unstable. Urgent referral to the cardiovascular clinic for management of the vascular injury presented the patient. In the clinical history, he has 2 shots, one in the left arm and one in the left thigh involving the femoral artery and vein.
The National Police were present at the scene.
A call came in informing about the detonation of some gunshots, one in the area of Orange Hill.
It should be noted that Teleislas was able to learn from a source close to the family that the shots were aimed at another person who was found near where Midday was.
And during the weekend, there were several accidents on the island, resulting in several injured people who were admitted to the departmental hospital.
During the weekend, there were several accidents on the island that gave as a result several injured people who were admitted to the departmental hospital.
Yesterday, there were several accidents, none of them serious. This morning at 8 a.m., a 36-year-old female patient was admitted due to traffic accident, who was a passenger. The patient presented thorax trauma with a thoracic condition, right femur fracture and left clavicle fracture, which are being managed.
On the other hand, the medical coordinator also highlighted the admission of a patient this morning who was riding a motorcycle and ended up in a traffic accident. This person is being attended by the doctors. Fortunately, none of the accidents left fatalities.
And here are the official results of the count votes in 2022 legislative elections.
According to information from the National Registrar's Office, the count of votes for the election of the House of Representatives for our department was as follows. The Colombian Liberal Party obtained 34.44% of the votes, that is to say 8,253, which were divided as follows. Elizabeth J. Pang, 3,875 votes. Bernardo Bent, 2,766 votes. Just for the list, 859. Arlington Howard, 753 votes. The coalition Partido de la U and Colombia Justas Libres obtained 28.08% of the votes, that is to say 6,229 votes, which were divided as follows. Carlos Brian Uribe, 3,999 votes. Ligia Rojas, 1,500 votes. Just for the list, 672 votes, and Arnold Joshua Brown, 558 votes. On the other hand, the closed list of the Cambio Radical Party obtained 27.02% of the votes, that is to say 6,475. It should be recalled that this closed list was led by the current representative Jorge Mendez. The political party Mira obtained 77% of the votes, that is to say 426, which were divided as follows. Just for the list, 200 votes. Carlos Oges, 133. Estaquia Montaño, 93. The Centro Democrático Party obtained 385 votes, which corresponds to 60% of the vote in that party of the candidate was Eliezer Jose Gomez. Lastly, the Colombia Renaciente Party obtained 94 votes, that is to say 39%, for its candidate Hermesenda Cantillo. Thus, the 2 seats in the House of Representatives in this tally are for the Colombian Liberal Party with the current representative Elizabeth J. Pang, and for the coalition of the Partido de la U and the Colombia Justas Libre Party with Carlos Alberto Brian Uribe.
Two winning candidates to represent the archipelago in the House of Representatives was the result of the elections held yesterday in the islands. Liberal candidate Elizabeth J. Pang spoke exclusively to Teleislas News about her electoral triumph.
With 3,875 votes, Liberal candidate Elizabeth J. Pang secured her seat in the House of Representatives for the 2022-2026 period. Surrounded by her followers, Diaz gave thanks for the support received at the polls.
Today we have demonstrated it with this vote of the Liberal Party. San Andres is a liberal department, and it has been demonstrated today. The truth is that it is all thanks to the community, to each leader, to each woman, to each man, to each young person, to each fisherman who were present in this electoral contest, electing the Liberal Party as one of the most important parties of the department. And why not say the most important party of Colombia? I want to thank each one of the people, the Liberal Party, for this opportunity, and now my work team. Thank you.
Supporters of J. Pang expressed their happiness for the candidate's victory.
Since the beginning of this candidacy, we have always been with Elizabeth. This is not a candidacy, this is a family, the family of the Liberal Party. We demonstrate to all of San Andres that with honesty, we work for all the people, and here we are for 4 more years. She is a very special person for the island. No one had done what she has done. 4 years, 4 lots. No candidate had done that. And before that, she had been working for the island for Sena and other entities.
Elizabeth J. Pang is currently a representative to the chamber for the department. The legislative election held yesterday secured her seat for the next term. The Liberal Party, to which Diaz is affiliated, was a political movement that secured more seats in the chamber throughout the country.
And the current House of Representatives, Jorge Mendez, offers some words on social networks regarding the legislative elections of yesterday, March 13, calling for a total recount of the votes.
Throughout a message on his social networks, the current House Representative Jorge Mendez thanks all his followers. He also announced that they will formally request the total recounts of votes due to alleged inconsistencies evidenced in the formats of the tables. This was the message of the candidate for the Cambio Radical Party. I quote,
I want once again to thank everyone for all the love and support shown during the campaign and in the latest hours. At the same time, I would like to express that due to the serious irregularities and inconsistencies evidenced in the E14 forms of some tables and being the margin so narrow, today in the scrutiny we will request the total recount of the votes, especially in those tables in which complaints have been filed just yesterday. I am respectful of democracy and due process. Once the recount and scrutiny are finished, I will make my statement on the final result.
Let's recall that Jorge Mendez currently holds a seat in the House of Representatives for our department for the constitutional period 2018 and 2022. However, in these elections, he obtained 27.02% of the votes, that is to say 6,475 in the closed list for his party, which was surpassed by the Liberal Party and the coalition Partido de la U and Colombia Justas Libres.
And the departmental government delivered statement of condition and how the citizen behavior was on the elections of yesterday, March 13, and situations that arose during the course of the day.
The elections of this Sunday, March 13, took place largely under normal parameters in the insular archipelago. Thousands of people went to the polls to exercise their right to vote, being the population over 25 years of age the one that was perceived with more presence in the voting stations. Governor Everett Hawkins gave a statement of condition of the elections and the events that took place.
We have had the report of a captured person who was at the Brookside School. He was exercising his right to vote. When the system was alerted that this person was being requested by an arrest warrant under the crime of rape, and there were other isolated situations that occurred but have not been registered as electoral crimes. In general, the statement of condition shows a positive result. There was tranquility in Providence as in the main island.
The authorities also reported a low voter turnout in these elections in the island.
But there was a low voter turnout, and that was noticeable in all sectors of the island.
So far, the authorities do not report that any electoral crime has occurred in the archipelago. However, Teleislas News will be attentive to any statement made by the registrar and the National Police on the behavior of citizens during the elections.
And the director of the Sectional Directorate of Prosecutors' Office announced in the transmission of our regional channel Teleislas that on election day there were 2 captures corresponding to citizens who had criminal records.
La Dirección Seccional de Fiscalía de San Andrés.
We have to tell the community that today in the legislative elections, the Sectional Directorate of the Prosecutor's Office of San Andres, linked to the directive issued by the Attorney General of the nation, has arranged personnel from the Prosecutor's Office and the CTI in the 8 justice tables, in the 8 voting stations, as well as in the headquarters of the entity in San Andres and Providence, in order to investigate and prosecute the criminal conducts that occur in relation to the electoral contest and that affect and threaten the democratic security. To date and time, the technical body of investigation officialized 2 arrest warrants for the crimes of rape and sexual abuse to children under 14 years.
In the same way, the director of the prosecutor office of the island announced that in the Luis Amigo school there was an alleged fraud in which a citizen approached the table and was informed that with her document number, the correspondent vote has already been made. Therefore, she reported that several years ago she denounced the loss of her document. In view of this, the citizen must go to the prosecutor office to follow up the due process.
And candidate Carlos Bryan, who won the elections to occupy the 2nd seat in the House of Representatives during the morning, also made known to the local media the steps he will take before the Congress. He also made a statement on the request of Congressman Jorge Mendez to recount the votes.
Un saludo a toda esa comunidad que nos acompañó.
A greeting to all the community that supported us, that gave us the opportunity of not having a credential for Carlos, but a party and team seat, and that is at the disposal of the whole island. Because for me, the elections ended yesterday at 4 o'clock. Now another stage begins for the inhabitants of this territory, the Panyas, the Raizal people. I have already stated that we were going to give 30% of my salaries for social works. What I tell him is that he knows he's my friend, and life will give him another opportunities because politics is dynamic and the community has made a decision. Let them scrutinize calmly, but the community can be certain that the difficult thing was to win the seat. The easy thing is to defend it.